Okay, so hey everybody, welcome to our first Badass Women Wednesday talk here. I'm joined with Susan Avery, our Spin Sisters race team director. So welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on today and being my first interviewee.
Awesome. I know. How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, I went for a ride earlier before the rain, so that was fun. Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, you got it before the rain though. Hey, were you in Beaumont today?
Yeah, just riding with a friend in Beaumont. So yeah, we got back as it was like sprinkling. So yeah,
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, you got the best part. Yeah, it's going to be nasty tomorrow. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, how was your day today? Pretty good.
It was good. Yeah, a mixture of stuff. I had a ride on the trainer today, a harder day today. So I've been using Martine from Peloton. I've been using her Tuesday night workouts on Wednesday night just to give me a bit of motivation. And, sometimes those harder days are a little tougher to do. So
definitely.
Yeah, and until we can get on the trails again, I've just been doing some stuff on the trainer for the harder days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into it here then. All right, so my first question, how did you get into mountain biking, Susan?
I got into mountain biking the way that a lot of you guys may have gotten into riding was through my husband, Ken. A lot of you may know Ken. I was riding on the road at the time. And I'll give you some dates, but I may kind of date myself too. So that's all right. Anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Mountain biking around 2004, 2005. Ken had this old BRC hardtail, and I would jump on that. And we had a bunch of rail trails around our place in Ontario, and we had a few kind of easier trails. So I would, get myself out there and do some of the technical stuff, which wasn't actually technical stuff, and just kind of really enjoyed it. And it wasn't until 2000, I guess, when Ken actually broke his neck mountain biking. So
wow.
his nice bike, his Spider race bike, took it out and was like, oh yeah, this is the way to go. And then yeah, so that's how it all started.
Nice. And what is your favorite trail to ride?
My favorite trails. That's really tough. And I know everybody always has a really hard time with that. So I really love, if anybody's ridden down in Moab, I love the Klondike trails. I like baby steps up to the Yukon, is it? Or Klondike, anyway, Yukon or something, Alaska Trail. Yes. I love riding rock. You can do some amazing things on rock. You can climb stuff, you can go over stuff. It's grippy, and then you can just rip down it too. So that's a great trail, but also kind of competing is, I'd say I really like the climb trail out in Squamish and Half Nelson to see.
Yes. That's a really good route.
That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun, and it puts a lot of your skills to the test too.
Definitely. Yeah, they've done such a good job on the trails in Moab and Squamish, just world class.
Oh, I know, and not to knock anything we've got here, they're all awesome. But yeah, it's my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And where is your favorite place to ride? You might have just mentioned two of them, but
I did, but you know what? I did some Moab, Squamish, but there's another one. Brevard, North Carolina. For about 10 years, we would go down there every March break. Mm-hmm. And with the race team I was with in Ontario. Mm-hmm. And the riding down is awesome. It's in the Blue Ridge Mountains. There's Pisgah State Forest, DuPont State Forest, Bent Creek by Asheville. If you take a road bike down as well, you can do the Blue Ridge Parkway. And Brevard is a little town that has sort of fashioned itself around outdoor sports. It's made itself a destination town, and any kind of sport you can think about are all supported there. But the mountain bike in particular is awesome.
Good to know. Nice.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
And okay, next question here. How did you get involved in mountain bike racing?
Well, can I give you a little bit of background?
Sure.
Like way back. So I've always been involved in competitive sports. When I was 14, we're going back a long way, I was a competitive distance runner. And so for about the next 5 years through my teens, I was a highly competitive distance runner. I would race 15, 3,000 and cross country. And when I was 17, my indoor 3,000 time was ranked third in Canada in the juniors.
Oh, wow.
It was
That's
highly
awesome.
competitive.
Yeah.
So I kind of got the bug for competing then, kind of knew what it took. My life was running. I would go to school, I would come home. I had incredibly supportive parents. I would run in the dark. I'd run all year. It was, yeah, I loved it. So I kind of had that base for competing. And I kept running through university. And then I took some time off university. I kind of got itchy feet. I took a summer and went through Europe, backpacked through Europe. And then the next year, I spent a year out in Calgary. Came out to Calgary with a friend, met Ken, who eventually became my husband. He had an extra road bike. So got into road riding, and he also rode on the track. So he rode with ICC International Cycling Center here in Calgary. So that's how I kind of got into the cycling end of things. And, you know, family and work gets in the way and stuff. So I mountain biked on the road all through there, but it wasn't until about 2008 that I actually did my first mountain bike race. And that was just because being around Ken racing, being on the team, helping out with the team, and then you'd eventually kind of just get sucked in. But I do have a sort of competitive background going way back.
Yeah. Yeah, because you sent me a few pictures to choose from, but the one that I chose was from the velodrome in Calgary. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
I was 22 years old then.
Wow, that's awesome, Josh. Yeah.
It's I know you have that as a question later on, but the velodrome is. I don't know whether anybody listening has ever ridden on the track, but it is a really cool. Have you done it, Fiona?
I haven't done it. Actually, I was talking to my friend I was riding with today. She tried it last year. There's in Calgary they do coaching sessions, I guess. So they were talking about giving it a shot. Yeah, when things are open again. Yeah.
It's very cool. If you look at that bike that's in the picture, there's a fixed wheel on the back. So it's like riding a Peloton bike, like a spin bike. So when you stop pedaling, the pedals keep going around, right? So it kind of throws you forward. So you have to really keep that in mind. So you only have one gear. And if you also notice, there's no brakes on the bike as well. So it's very light. The tires are really skinny, and it makes it light because there's only the one gear, and there's no other hardware. There's nothing to change gears. There's no brakes or anything. It's really exciting riding. Can be a little scary. You have to get used to it. But a lot of the time you're riding like this far from the person in front of you.
Oh, wow.
Any brakes. So you have to trust that they know what they're doing, that they're going to keep
goodness.
And it's a little nervous. Like I did it when I was 22, right? So at 22, you could do anything. Just fearless and and there's a great big high banks on the velodrome at either end. And when you're doing if you're doing a pursuit, I was more doing I did the pursuit, the distance stuff, and so one person would start on one side of the track, another person would start at the other, and then you'd go around for 3,000 meters, and your goal was not let the person pass you. You didn't want them to catch up to you, type of thing. For other kind of more sprint races that we would do just for fun and stuff, and you'd get yourself going right up high to the top of the bank on the velodrome, and then when you got to the corner, you just turn the bike down and you shoot down the bank to get a run at the backside of the track there. It was fun.
That does sound fun, but also a bit nerve-wracking, like you said.
It can be, but you just have to kind of get into it gradually. And did you notice the helmet in the picture?
Yes, yeah. It was interesting.
It's a soft shell helmet we're going back a long way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Scary.
Yes, fair enough. Yeah, but awesome experience.
Yeah. It was great. And there was actually quite a lot of people who raced the track at that time. I've kind of lost track. I don't do it anymore. And I'm not quite sure what it looks like now.
Oh, fair enough.
Bye.
Okay, what has been your favorite race?
Yeah, that's a tough one too. There's so many good ones. Usually, I think my favorite race course was it was in Ontario. It was called Paul's Dirty Enduro, and it was a 65-kilometer race, and it was all single track, and you never rode the same piece of single track twice.
Oh wow, that's really good for 65.
Forest, I think it was. And you had to wear long knee socks when you were racing because the forest was full of poison ivy.
Oh.
So you didn't want to contract poison ivy. And then you had to go and like wash down with this soapy water so that you didn't get poison ivy on anything else. Yeah, it was weird. But because it was all, I'm a cross country rider. That's my love, right? And it was all flowy single track for 65 kilometers. It was amazing. And it just happened to be a day when you're on and everything feels good and you're just invincible, right? So the first 40K was fabulous. I was riding with the guys and it was flowing. It was going great. It was going so great. I didn't forget, but I didn't think I needed to eat and drink a whole lot. And so the last 20K was pretty hard, but that race has the best memories for me in terms of the flow that happened and just being on.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
And we already kind of talked about the different disciplines or different. Have you done any road riding? Like, do you do much road riding as well?
Yep. I did road riding back. So when I was riding on the track, I was also riding on the road. I did some road races. I did a Critter 2 Criterium. And then when we moved to Ontario, we did a fair bit of road riding initially, actually for a number of years. And they had a time trial series kind of on every Wednesday night. And so that was a really good way when you weren't actively racing on the road. It was a really good way to keep yourself challenged and to try to compete against your time on different courses every week. And sometimes we'd ride in groups of 4, so you could kind of get the group time trials to kind of get your experience riding with a peloton and working with other people and stuff. So so we did a fair bit of road riding, but then it was mountain biking that just once it hooks you, right? I may go back to road riding at some point when I can't mountain bike anymore. I don't know, with the advent of the e-bikes. Mm-hmm. You'd be able to do that for a fair bit still.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Using technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So next question here. How do you approach your own training and riding?
I think the biggest thing I've learned over the years is that, mountain biking is a passion now. I do it for my physical and my mental well-being. It's just, if I'm having a bad day, Ken says, just go out for a ride, and guaranteed I'll be fine when I come back. It's something I need to do. I love it. It's a passion. So one of the things I've learned is to keep it fun. So when I'm looking at training, I'll look at a race that I want to do, and then I'll set up a rough training plan as to how I want to get there, how I want to achieve the results I want. And some of those days need to be hard. There need to be some intensity days to just keep the aerobic fitness going, to get the muscle strength and endurance. But sometimes they can be like I said, they can be hard, but you never want it to get tedious. You never want it to get so that you don't want to go out. So I really try to keep the fun in riding, and I think it's really important to keep the rest days and the easier days easy, so that you're not always going out and push and trying to get a better time and seeing if you can, you know, get that Strava time or whatever. Because we need those easy days. We need to keep falling in love with mountain biking, and we need to keep that fun factor in it. So that's a really big part of it for me.
Nice.
And I never stop loving it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How do you approach goal setting, and what goals do you have for this season?
So goal setting, I'll look at, I'm not doing as much racing now as I used to. A little bit older, you know, the body can't quite keep up as much as it used to. That's okay. So I'll take a look at a couple of races I want to do over the season, and then look at how long it takes to travel there, look at the course, whether it's kind of meets my cross-country requirements, but also gives a little bit of challenge. You don't want something that's too easy. And then see what time of year it is as well. So try not to pick races that are too close together. You want to have some time in between to kind of build back up. And yeah, and then so I'll just pick some that are kind of the longer, more endurance type races these days. And this year I'm looking at doing well, who knows, right? Looking at doing the Okanagan 24 at Silver Star in BC. If we get there, they are waiting until May 15th to make a decision about whether the race is going or not. I did that race last year. It's a 4-hour, or it's also 24-hour. So they have the two races, but I did the 4-hour last year. I didn't have the results I wanted last year, so I really wasn't that happy with my race, but I really couldn't have done more. Whether it was elevation, whether it just wasn't enough preparation, or the right type of preparation, I don't know, but I want to go back again and see if I can do it a little bit better. It was raining too, and it was wet, and
oh yeah, I don't like riding when it's wet.
It's harder, right? Especially on
racing, yeah.
Newer, and yeah. So I do want to do that one again if it runs, and then I'll probably also do Battle Creek Showdown.
Oh yeah.
Just south of you've done that before, yeah. Just south of Medicine Hat. It's just complete fun.
Totally.
The course is great. The course has changed since you did it. It's now just a complete up and then fun down. Complete up, fun down. So, and there's a restaurant there that provides this amazing meal afterwards. So like on laps 5 and 6, you're just like, I get to eat afterwards. Okay, you can do this.
Yeah, nice.
So, and there's no shame apparently in having little food rewards afterwards.
Oh, I always have food rewards. Yep.
I know. Yeah.
So the Battle Creek Showdown had some of the best prizes I've ever gotten at a race. So one of the local farmers provided corn.
Yeah.
I did it. So I got like a bag of corn.
Great big, yeah. You're kind of like, my bag of corn, and they also put other swag as well.
Oh, yes, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and there's great camping there. It's great. They've got a good kids race. It's just low key and fun.
It is really fun. Yeah.
It's just really fun, and yeah, the traveling to Medicine Hat isn't that great, but the rest of it's fun.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna hope. I don't know what's gonna happen this year, whether it's on or not, but hopefully.
For sure. Yeah.
We'll
just gotta wait and see. Yeah. It's just a weird time. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the next question here I have is, how has the Spin Sister race team evolved over the years?
Yeah. So I took over the Spin Sister race team from the amazing Gloria in last year, 2019. And when I took it over, I kind of wanted to bring some of the experiences I had with being on a team from Ontario, and it's quite different in Ontario, and I'll explain a little bit about it. In Ontario, the team we had was a full support team. So we would take a trailer, we would set up a tent and canopy. We had everything people would need for maintenance of bikes and repairs and tubes, and we had spare wheels to be set up in the tech zone for some of the elite riders. There was your water and your your e-load and snacks and people to feed you, and your family could hang out there. It was a great big family and a great big support unit. And that to every single race. There were 7 races, cross-country races. That's kind of right now the biggest thing in Ontario are the cross-country races, or at least they were. 7 different venues in Southern Ontario. The big difference is there's a company, it's now called Superfly Racing, and their business is setting up the O-Cup courses, the Ontario Cup courses. That's all they do. Actually, they set up a couple of 24-hour courses as well. So they pick the venues, they pick the courses, they set them up. The signage is always the same. There's never any question about where you're going. The timing is always consistent. So when you go to a race venue, you know exactly what to expect. They usually have the course set up a week ahead of time so that people can get their pre-rides in. So we had this setup that kind of went each of the 7 races over the course of the summer. Not only did I love that race environment too, like the excitement and just the feeling of seeing everybody week after week that you knew. Was awesome. So I kind of wanted to bring some of that more support to the race team. It's challenging because it's a different setup. We don't have those venues that are within easy driving distance. People are picking races in BC and Southern Alberta and further in the States. And so I haven't quite worked that bit out, but I do want to provide support for the team in terms of education. So how can we introduce people to racing, keep them racing, get them exposed to racing, and get them enough information in terms of, how to do up a training plan. What do you need for strength exercises? How do you prepare for an enduro race? What about stretching and recovery and supplements and food and all this type of thing, and try to get as much information for people as possible so that they are prepared and able to succeed at racing. And then also, I love the support piece in terms of actually going to races and setting up the tent and having the whole team there, and the support and camaraderie and everybody celebrating everybody's accomplishments. That's huge, and I really want to try to do, or I really wanted to try to do more of that. And also try to get the women together to train together so that they have people to ride and train with. Similar abilities, similar goals. So those are that's what I want to try to achieve. I held a workshop last year in the spring, which was fun, and we had planned a number of shuttle days. Rain really put a damper on things last year, so because I was really hoping to hit the ground running this year with the team. We got the registration going early. We started looking at training. I think our first training ride together was March 1st.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Went to pot. Yeah. We have training rides planned for twice a month, once on the weekend, and then the next training ride would be on a Thursday. Looking at another workshop, spring workshop, looking at a couple of away events. The Crow's Nest Enduro was one of them.
Nice.
Looking at Salty Dog, of course, and then looking at doing a group weekend out to Panorama, or maybe even the Revy Women's Enduro. We might even still be able to do that. Totally. So those plans could put on the back burner like everybody else, and at least we're not athletes who are preparing for an Olympic year, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, those folks, wow, trying to figure that out and rework your plans, and keep your head in the game, and that's got to be really tough.
Yeah, that would be very challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some great plans. So we'll see what we can salvage once everything gets back, and we get the okay from Spin Sisters and from the Alberta, the ABA.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and have some group rides and stuff, and we'll see what happens.
Yep. Yeah, totally. That's, again, it's just a weird time, so it's hard to plan.
Yeah.
For things. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we kind of already went over this. How you're approaching the management of the race team this season and helping participate. Oh yeah, and helping participants with their training. We talked about that a little bit, but yeah.
So we've got trying to keep the race team together as a unit, trying to keep everybody motivated to keep riding, keep training. Hopefully there will be some in the season. We did get our meet and greet with the race team, so some of the newer members got to meet everybody. We did the one training ride, and then I was saying the one fat bike ride, which was great. So we have an awesome Facebook site for the race team, and we've been I've been trying to keep the women together in terms of having a topic every week that we discuss. People share ideas on strength training, on stretching. We've been able to share different platforms that people have been using to keep training that they found exciting. People have offered training plans. They've offered videos that they've got. It's been great, and it's helped keep the team cohesive. And then Friday was May 1st, so I put together a race team trail challenge. So for the month of May, I've challenged them to document the number of kilometers that they ride, and to see what kind of mileage they can get in May. May can still be kind of seen as a mileage building month, I guess. And, with Callan's help, she put together a bunch of trails that equal a little bit over 500 kilometers. So every week the race team is going to submit the kilometers they've ridden. I'm going to put it on the graph, and it will show how many trails they've ridden to date. And anybody who rides over 200 kilometers, which I hope is fairly achievable, will have their name put into a draw for, I've got a few gift card prizes, but just something to keep it fun, to keep it interesting. People can challenge themselves against other riders in terms of their mileage, or some people just have certain amounts of time due to kids at home and work. So, they have to keep with their own schedules, but I'm just hoping there's a bit of motivation there for everybody.
Definitely.
Maybe at the end of May, we can get out riding.
Yep. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think so. I don't know. Actually, Elle from the Greater Bragg Creek Trail Association sent me some photos that I have to post after this of the trails out there, and it looks like things are looking better than we thought, so that's good.
Yeah,
it might not be 2 weeks. It might be like a week, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the one saving grace, I guess, is that we couldn't necessarily be out on the trails yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, like they're a week or two away from what I gather. Let's hope we have a really rainy May. So we would have had to be doing some alternate stuff at some alternate locations. So when we get back out into the mountains, hopefully we can figure out something in terms of social distancing. I don't know. Have you ever ridden with a mask?
No, I can't say I have, but yeah. There's that. I did hear somebody say that there are some mountain bike trails that have been opened in the States, and supposedly they have to wear masks. That was
no way.
I'm not sure which state that was, but yeah, someone mentioned that the other day to me. So. Oh,
interesting. We were riding in 12 Mile Coulee and Beaumont on the weekend. I think we saw you then. Coming back on 12 Mile Coulee, even though we had tried to get a fairly early start, we were like around noon getting back. It was impossible to social distance on the trails. There were too many people and kids and everybody trying to get past each other on the trails, and so I don't know. We need to get out more, like to the Bragg Creek area and stuff, where people can kind of just lose themselves on the trails, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yes, like Beaumont in the middle of the day here is. I don't go either. There's no point.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go really early, or you have to go around dinner time or later.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, So, okay, so how can the Spin Sisters get involved in the race team?
Well, so anybody can get involved in the race team as long as, I believe the requirements are on the Spin Sisters webpage, but you have to have, I think 3 races under your belt or have been riding for 2 years and be comfortable on intermediate or the blue trails. You don't have to be a superwoman to race, but you do need to be competent on your bike to be and to be racing races that are within your skill level and challenge you, but not over the top. So we have about 4 or 5 riders who have put themselves at the advanced intermediate level, and the rest of them are at the advanced level. So yeah, you can. And the other thing you can do if you don't have race experience is you need to take the Learn to Race program, which the amazing Julia runs, which you're going to interview Julia next week or the next.
Yep. Yeah, next week. Yeah.
And it's a great program, which she'll talk a little bit more about next week. But that prepares you for racing and gives you some tips, and actually gives you some mock races and stuff. And yeah, a lot of the race team helps out with that. You've helped out with that a lot. It's super fun.
It is really fun.
The biggest takeaway I want people is that if you're interested, all contact me, and we'll see whether it's a good fit for you. Yeah. So I can be reached at racing@spinsisters.ca. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'd love to hear from you.
Nice. And so we did have some comments here in the chat. So it says, so Kellen said, "Hi ladies, you're both looking great." Thank you, Kellen. And then, and then C said she'd love to talk to you about the race team. I had no idea some of those things she mentioned, what the team does, retraining, group rides, etc. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and that was C?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. I'd love to chat with you.
Yeah. And does anyone else have any questions for Susan? See here, yeah. Yeah, I think we've been pretty, I think we were pretty good. We were pretty thorough in going over everything, the race team and your background and how you're approaching training for yourself, which I always find interesting, and then how you're approaching with the team. Actually, one thing that we didn't really talk about is the disciplines on the race team. Like what disciplines can people?
Right.
Yeah.
So on the race team, there's quite a variety of disciplines. So there's your cross country, there's your marathon races, which are just your longer cross country. There's your enduro. One of the things we had to clarify actually at the our meet and greet was that enduro doesn't necessarily mean endurance. In other parts of the country, it might, like in Ontario, I was racing some O Cup, their enduro races were the longer races, not necessarily your enduros that we know out here. So the enduros where you make your way up the hill on your own time and then race down that. Gravel racing, cyclocross. We have one woman who is doing Xterra racing right now. And downhill as well, although there aren't a lot of women who are specifically focusing on downhill right now. So, but they certainly do that under the Spin Sisters colors, not a ton of other women, but a lot of women doing the enduro right now.
Fair enough. So C had a question here. She'd like to know how many people are on the race team and how many people-ish per discipline.
We have, there's 17 people on the race team this year. And I would say we probably have 10 to 12 who are doing enduro, at least.
Yeah, so that's significant, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things that we're wanting to do this year and last year were some of the shuttle rides, getting some of the shuttle rides going so that the women can ride together. And usually we do that with Alberta 66, and Jeff often will, go down behind, and if we wanted, we could get some tips from him if we wanted to organize that as well. A lot of the women on the race team, I kind of structure it based on feedback I've gotten as to what the women want to see on the race team. A lot of women, they didn't necessarily want training or like, how do I put that? Training in terms of taking courses or having somebody teach some things. They wanted to do that on their own, not necessarily on race team time. They wanted primarily to ride with other women. Yeah. So that's what I've been trying to focus on.
Well, fair enough. And then there's some people that are focused on more cross country, and then a few are. Is anyone focusing on cyclocross?
I think we have at least one who does more cyclocross, and we have some who do some gravel riding.
Nice.
I would say the two most popular are your marathon racing, your longer distances, and the enduro is the most popular.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
nice.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I think those are all my questions.
Right.
Is there anything you'd like to add to close here?
No, it's just other than you're doing an amazing job at curating all these videos. Thank you.
Thanks.
I've never been called badass before, but I trust you, Fiona.
No, you are badass. Yeah.
Maybe badass in terms of that I'm passionate about the sport.
No, you're definitely badass.
Yeah, just that. We have an awesome group here, the Spin Sisters group, and what everybody's been doing to try to get the riders through this time has been pretty exceptional. So I'm really proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, definitely. We had a few comments here that I'm just going to share because I don't know if you can see them. So Julia said, woohoo, marathon. And Kellen said, great job, guys. And Julia said, you are a badass race team director.
Thank you. Sweet.
Yeah, so on that note, thank you so much, Susan, for joining tonight.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Fiona.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You have a great night. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, see you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.